things to yap about, but I can't find the picture. Hold on, I think I found it. Hey, I found it. Okay. We still setting up a little bit, but I found what I am looking for. Hello, hello. Hello. We have the new cards, right? For this year's birthday run for Twisted Wonderland. And you know, this is what we're working with this year. It's like bakery themed, still life kind of going on, whatever. You know, it's Jamil, he's gorgeous as usual. When you uncap the card though, I was not expecting it to look that pretty. I must share. Because that is so pretty. Like, it goes hard. Hello, look at Jamil's birthday card. Isn't he gorgeous? I think he's gorgeous, and the tart is gorgeous. Ugh, everything in this image is pretty. I love it. It's not what I was expecting, but I am pleasantly surprised. Like, I was expecting more of like, oh, you're sitting across the table kind of a thing in a different perspective, but no, we got this, and it looks gorgeous. Yeah, it's his birthday. Technically, it's tomorrow, but JP time, it's already Jamil's birthday. He's pretty! Ah! Yo, me too. I have a feeling I'm gonna like the rest of these cards, cause I do like fancy looking desserts. And I'm curious as to what fancy desserts all the characters are gonna have. And what kind of like still life backgrounds are gonna be going on. Yeah. Like, I'm especially curious about Cater, because he does not like desserts, but he's also not against taking pictures of them. So it's like, how's his gonna turn out? That's the one I'm curious about, because he just canonically does not like sweet things. We have Jake facts. Ooh. Let me fix this. Okay. I'm just doodling something, don't mind it. I just needed something to do today. Context is not needed right now. We just doodling. No context. You will not be given context because it's not needed right now. Jake may not eat desserts in front of you, but he does have an affinity for them. He likes eating them in secret. He doesn't want to admit he still likes a sweet treat, but that's cute. I love that. Ah, yes, thank you. And this character design, actually, I did draw it on stream before, so it's like, it's not totally, like, out of the blue. What is this? It's Mephistopheles, don't worry about it. It's just that I was working on this yesterday, but my laptop was doing the annoying thing where, like, the fan's just going off for no real good reason when there's barely anything running except for, like, one program. And, like, the computer hasn't even been for that long, so it's like, yeah, time to do a reset. Like, I am kind of tempted to give it a little bit of a redesign. But, like, I don't feel like it. Like, maybe different colors, maybe a little bit of a different outfit, but nah, I don't feel like it. That's gonna be too much. Jake has low spice tolerance, but will eat it regardless if you challenge him because he doesn't like to lose. Stubborn one, I see. It's cute. I still need to work more on Benji. Like, I have basically the idea of his personality is just chaotic, but I haven't really drawn much with him in a while. Mainly because I haven't finished his ref sheet proper. Like, the like, introduction sheet proper, because I still don't have a full name for him. And I still don't know what I want to name his, unique magic. His brain cells are fried, and his tolerance for odd food combinations is also fairly high. He can probably survive eating Lilia's cooking. I mean, it'll still do some damage, but he'll actually be able to eat it. He doesn't have that much based on Wendy and Jane besides his appearance and the fact he is really paternal to the Suns and Chica and stuff like that. Stuff like Wendy is to the kids of Neverland or whatever. I see. I see what you mean. Why'd I make his stupid little cake so stupidly short? Why bother putting too much detail here when I'm gonna cover it with feathers? Otherwise, he's basically his own stubborn little thing. That's adorable. I love it. Drawing feathers is annoying. But it looks so good for the aesthetic. He also does not actually like wearing bows, but he wears one because that's the hairstyle his mother always did for him. His mother's alive. That's cute. It's like the only hairstyle he knows. Putting a lot of effort into adding a bunch of feathers here, but I suck at drawing the feathers. Hello, hello, welcome back. Mercury. I'd be okay. I'm just drawing something that I was technically working on offline yesterday. But my computer was kind of acting up, so I didn't have enough time to really work on it, so now I'm just doing it here. And now I'm hating having to draw all these feathers because I'm not liking how it's turning out. Oh no, don't do that. Just came back from listening to music. Yay, nice. And in case you're wondering about what I'm drawing right now, I do have... There is like a stream a while back where I was working on the design for this character. I forgot what it was called, but it was like an OC designing stream. It's somewhere in there. For context, this is what I was working on, but I never finished this part because I got tired. I don't want the feathers to look too ridiculously big though. I see it looks like a vampire Dracula. Yeah, it's got the vibes. I was going for a little bit of owl in there too. Yeah. After all, it is a demon character anyway. It's kind of what he should look like. It's just that I wanted to throw in a little bit of, like, owl for some reason. Although the little coat and jacket design was kind of inspired by Crowley from Twisted Wonderland. That's also where the little owl motif came from, because Crowley is crows, this is owls. Yeah. Just taking design inspirations from things I like. Bye bye, Fabina. I know of the name Crowley. But do you know of what context I'm speaking of? Aleister Crowley was a magician in the early 20th century. Yes. Yes, he was. That's definitely not the Crowley I'm talking about. I think I have a picture. I can pull up a picture of what I am talking about. And I clicked the wrong character. Ooh. But like that is the reference for the name of Dyer Crowley for Twisted Wonderland. His design may be interesting, but I do not trust him. Like, I did like a whole stream once where I was just going off about how much I don't trust this character. It was so funny. I see, but I know of a Crowley song that was done by Ozzy Osbourne in 1980. Ooh. Yeah, here's my design inspiration. This dude who looks kind of like he belongs in Kingdom Hearts, not gonna lie. With all them keys on him. Yeah, that's the character I'm talking about. No idea what he looks like underneath that mask, and I'm afraid to see what he looks like. Yeah. Because, like, he's definitely an important character in the story, but at the same time, he doesn't show up a lot. Because there's just so much going on, and you don't really notice. But, I did a whole hour of just talking about how much I do not trust Dyer Crowley. I mean, I keep saying his name wrong. It's Dear Crowley. Like, he's, that character is not to be trusted. As well as he makes me wonder, how are you in a position of authority when you suck at handling situations most of the time? Or he's just not there? Suspicious behavior. line art's looking kind of messy. Well, this is something I am not coloring. That's for somebody else to color. There we go. That looks better. Kinda wish I knew how to turn on, like, the line stabilizer thing. Because it is hard keeping my lines looking neat. I think there is something for that for Krita, but I have not found where to turn that on. It's like, I know it's either something I have to do on the tablet settings or something I have to do on the Krita settings. I don't know which one to get line stabilization. It's like, I don't even need a lot of it, I just need a bit, so that way it's like, not like, half the time. Like, I do like a little bit of inorganic, organic jank in my line art. Sometimes it's just too much and I'm just like, that looks horrible. Like, what happened to my hands? I have a lot of things segmented here too. too uneven to the other side. Got me some coffee. I like coffee. I also happen to be one of those people where if I drink coffee, I do not get hyper, I get tired. I don't know what that means. I just know that it doesn't really give me jitters. Even if I drink, like, just a cup of black coffee. But you don't really do that often. I do it sometimes. If I usually have like black coffee, it's usually just iced coffee because I don't like it hot. I don't like it burning my tongue. I want to taste it. Even if it's watered down a bit, I'd rather taste it watered down than not be able to taste at all. But that's just me. I am probably going to have to do a lot of labeling for this. My layers. They must be labeled. I forget things. Even started on his hair. So that's also gotta be like its own thing. I need his forehead to look big too. It's like a running joke. Just how big his gosh dang forehead is. I just realized this is a similar hairstyle to my model. Wow. I don't want that. Most of this is supposed to be covered up anyway, because he got pointy strands of hair. I want his hair to look dark. But also kind of symmetrical, you know? probably fix that later. No, I'm gonna fix it right now. His hair is hard to draw sometimes. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just here to draw for the vibes. Sometimes I'll just ramble to myself for a little bit. I am just here to doodle. And to talk about the things I like when it pops up. But I mainly just, I like drawing. And I like the idea of being able to kind of like draw with others. Even if it's just sitting here in awkward silence sometimes. I see. Normally I spend my time listening to music, which is why I always talk about music. Yeah. I'm usually here just talking about my favorite video games and stuff like that. Sharing my passions for arts and stuff. I even learn about music history. Oh, that's cool. Kind of like, I dabble in learning about animation history. That's like my little habits, I guess. We're not so different after all. You see, nowadays I don't talk about favorite games because a lot of games have almost similar mechanics. Yeah. Like, usually, since I play more story-based games, I don't mind too much about mechanics, but that's just a me thing. But I can understand how that can get boring after a while. I also learn about animation history even from the 20th century. Yeah, I have like random Disney animation facts that I'll occasionally spew when people talk to me in person. I'm just like, oh, did you know? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, wow, I did not know that. I need a more exaggerated looking, like, oh, boo-hoo frown right there. Even anime had some inspiration from Disney. Yeah! Like Astro Boy. I find it funny how, like, with the history of animation, there's a lot of give and take from the East and the West being inspired by each other. There's always something to learn. You know, I might throw in a fake tear here. Just to make it look even more like, oh, boo-hoo for you. I don't care. Now that I'm trying to draw this pouty face. Even America promoted African music and Afro-American music like blues and jazz to Japan. Japan was first exposed to westernized music and cartoons. Oh yeah. I do remember reading something about that. I also remember Betty Boop was like surprisingly popular in Japan. That they even made like a little episode for that. It was cute. True cultural exchange. We like that. I like that over here. But very sad that there's little to no music experimentation in Africa and Brazil in the 70s due to limited technology and complicated matters. Yeah. enjoy some Brazil songs from the 70s. Like, Ba Paroma by Jorge Ben, Lotus 72D by Zé Roberto, and Latin Strut by Joe Batan. Interesting. I haven't really heard a lot of like Brazilian Portuguese music. I mean, I probably have, but sometimes I can't tell the difference between Portuguese and Spanish, because I can barely understand Spanish, and they kind of sound similar to me. Brazil's main language is Portuguese. Yeah, I know. I had a roommate once who was from Brazil. Actually, I had like two, sort of. One was actually from Brazil, the other just had family there. And then I know somebody else who's actually Portuguese. I know a lot of interesting people. I also remember one time introducing my friend to Spanish music from like the 2000s. Because he had like no idea what I was talking about once, and I'm just like, it's time for you to learn. It's time for you to learn what every single quinceañera in America sounds like. Particularly of the Puerto Rican variety. It's like every card trip I remember. My mom had like a Mark Anthony CD, and that would usually be one of the first things that would be put on after you reach that point where every radio station is country music. That's the problem. Ever since the 2000s, there's like little to no variety of sounds and music experimentation, because a lot of sounds are compressed and they sound the same. Yeah. That's also my nostalgic era. Mostly with English music, but like, it is my favorite era. But it reminds me like, man, I'm old. Whenever people ask me about the 2000s onwards, I'll just shut down. Even in the 2000s, every sound can be sampled or to form music. It's not only English music, but also European, Japanese, Korean, African, Brazil, Turkey, etc. Yeah. They see what you mean. if music can be easily without music knowledge, it loses its groove and soul. I feel like the same thing can be applied to a lot of other arts as well. Not to get too like deep in the weeds about like AI art, but that's also why I think AI art sucks, is because most of the people that try to use it just do not know how to make art in general. Because it's like, how can you make a picture but then be confidently proud to show it off if it has like a bunch of malformed hands or something, or like wonky proportions, or like melty details that don't really look like anything. It's like, bro, you need to understand the rules in order to break them. That can be applied to every artistic medium known to mankind. Now with music so available, unlike before, especially when AI also helps make music, it just loses its charm and appeal. Yeah. It's like, I understand the ease of access, but at the same time, you still need to learn how stuff works. Should still at least put in the effort to know the rules. Yeah, you need to understand the process on how art or music gets there. Exactly. And I feel like that can also explain why some newer Disney movies too also feel horrible, because most of the people don't know how writing works. Or at least how to make a good believable character that you want to see continue their journey. Anyways, I'm finished with the sprite. I'm not coloring it anyway. That's somebody else's job. But yeah, that's why I have 70s Party to show that every music has process. Yeah. As well as art too. Art has processes. Processes are the most important because without them, you won't make the output. Yeah. As well as like, everything has like a rough draft as well, where like you see what you like, what you don't like, and try to make it better than what you just first put out there. Which I feel like is something that's missing in the animation pipeline process now, because it feels like they just try to rush everything and they keep all the little groups out of the loop with each other, so it's harder to make corrections. And I feel like that's very prominent if you've seen Wish, because it feels like each part was made without anybody knowing what the heck they were supposed to be doing. The 70s decade is where technology is the most developed, and many musicians express their creativity in this decade. The experimental era. Yeah. That's why if anyone ever suggests any song from the 70s, I'll engage with them. My music knowledge is not very strong, but I do listen to a lot of old people music in general, so... like, I can't really name things off the top of my head, to be honest. But like, whenever one of my parents are like cleaning the house or doing something, that's usually when they just put on like a radio station from like playing music from like the 70s. Me too. Me, I usually listen to, like, as corny as it is, I do listen to a lot of video game and anime music. That's usually what I gravitate towards when it's like I'm in the middle of working on something and I need something to listen to get me motivated. Like I said, even do 70s and 80s the most in every Chinese and... I even do 70s and 80s. And like also, I do kind of like the genre of like like rock and metal and stuff like that. I can't really name a lot of stuff off the top of my head though, because like I kind of just casually listen to music. But like there are definitely music genres that kind of inspire some of my anime aesthetics, if that makes any sense. The problem is game and anime music got overexposed to the point of annoyance with VTubers doing multiple covers. Which is why I don't listen to any game or anime music. I mean, I don't mind covers and stuff like that. Although that kind of reminds me, like, my parents always, well, my dad specifically, he really doesn't like hearing remixes of songs. Like, he really just does not like it. He's like, I like the original. I'm like, okay. I like both. I do enjoy rock metal anthems, especially in the 80s, like Dio, Metallica, Iron Maiden, Europe, Halloween, Bon Jovi. But it's when any song gets overcovered, it's a bother. Yeah, I feel like then after a while, when people stop acknowledging its existence for a while, it makes listening to some of the stuff easier again. I don't know, that's just me though. That's just how my brain works. I don't mind anyone doing covers of any songs, but if a song gets overcovered, it gets annoying. Basically, like when it becomes a trend to cover a song. Yeah, because I do see that happen sometimes with like a new anime comes out and people keep covering the opening because it's by like a specific group or something. That's why I don't talk about game or anime music. Because they forgot what makes music amazing, which is the groove and soul. Yeah. That's why sometimes I just enjoy things in a vacuum, where I don't really engage too much with like the internet cultures around it sometimes. I feel like that's why I'm still very into like anime and stuff like that, because like I don't interact with it too much online. I interact with it the most like in person with people I know. Whenever music is associated with trends, languages, games, anime shows, or any form of media, it's a recipe for disaster. I feel like that happens way more nowadays, because people just don't know how to respect hobbies. Because then you got so many people trying to be invested in the hobby culture, but like they don't know how to actually engage in it, and they just overdo it, or they just make fun of everybody who's into it or something. Which is why fandom culture on the internet sucks. Because it's like, when I'm not online, when my presence is not known on the internet, I'm usually just actually drawing something. Or I'm actually just watching an anime and actually just not talking about it much. Because it's like, I want to do these things because I enjoy it. And maybe say like, oh, I was watching this, that was fun, every once in a while, but it's like, I'm not going to actively engage too much in certain fandoms. Whereas, like, the fandom that I do engage in most of the time is Twisted Wonderland, but that's because I am specifically obsessed with, everything about it. Like the Tokyo Taste by Raja, Soratu Como by Myonen Bayashi, Tokyo Reggae by Masayo Yoshi Takanaka. Takanaka. Like I said, I always care about groove and soul. For anime, I do enjoy the art style, but I never engage for anime. Yeah, I'm very interested in, like, stories and character development and stuff like that. So sometimes I just don't engage too much with, like, some communities. It's like, most of the time, if I'm doing my fandom stuff, I'm usually just talking with people that I, like, actually know. Like, that I personally know, whether it be, like, online or in person. Like, somebody where it's like, I can have a civil discussion with you, and you're not gonna derail it into something that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Because, like, one of my favorite series is, Black Butler, which is also why I'm very obsessed with Twisted Wonderland, because it's the same person writing the stories. And I usually talk about that with people that I mostly know in person. Yes, but nowadays the story concept almost feels the same, which is why I don't watch anime anymore. I mean, anime I feel like is a little bit more built on cliches. Which I don't mind, personally, because I feel like even if you have the same concept as somebody else, there's still so many unique ways you can present it. Because, like, I'm of the mindset that there is nothing new under the sun, but there's so many possible combinations to tell similar stories that can actually be entertaining for people, if that makes sense. Because, like, almost every story can be broken down to its most basic elements of, here's your main character, here's their problem, and here's their journey to solving their problem, or something. Like, if you want to be, like, bare bones with almost every story ever written. And that's where the creativity of, like, your characters, their personality, as well as, like, your art style, too, that also, like, makes it more enjoyable, because, like, visually it's eye-catching, and then you have good characters to back it up. Yeah. That's just my perspective on things. Because again, like, when I talk about, like, Twisted Wonderland, I also sometimes bring up how similar some of the characters are to Black Butler characters. But, like, they're still presented in a different way from the Black Butler characters. I just hope people don't force me to watch anime, which I'm not interested in. Which I'm not interested anymore, like some people from streams. Yeah, it's like, you don't have to watch the things that people recommend to you. This is why I mostly talk about music, because of the groove and soul, which keeps me happy. Yeah. Because, like, I can acknowledge that, like, just because I yap about something that I like, it doesn't necessarily mean everybody's gonna want to watch it. Everybody has their own interests and opinions and tastes. Some more, I recovered from depression, so I'm not interested in watching any shows or anime. I see. That makes sense. It's like I could make a whole list of anime I would recommend to people, but at the same time, it's like, you don't have to watch it. Because that's the whole point of kind of giving out a recommendation, is being like, oh, hey, you might like this, but then it's like, oh, well, actually I don't. And it's like, oh, well, that's okay. I just want to be happy and live my life by listening to music. Indeed. I usually spend my time drawing stuff that makes me personally happy. But sometimes it is fun to at least share some of the stuff that makes you happy with others. That's kind of why I've been doing this, sort of like, kind of trying to stream as a VTuber, kind of just posting art online that I like. Because that's mostly what I do. So do you have any interesting music for me? Probably not. Because, like, I'm such a very, like, casual person when it comes to that. Yeah. I always love sharing my hobbies. Yeah. Because it's fun, you get to kind of share a little bit of, like, different perspectives, too. I might actually try to look for some more stuff that I never really thought too much about. But, like, when it comes to me watching anime recently, it's mostly... I'm not reading any, like, recommendations from, like, any lists or whatever. I'm just trying to find something that catches my attention. Oh, thank you. I'm acknowledging the fact that I don't know a lot about music. But at least we can understand each other. Yeah. That's the fun part. Even when you don't know something, you're willing to learn about it. Which I feel like is a lost art with some people, but Cause like I just find it a little dumb to kind of be all up like, I know everything about everything. Like I don't know everything about like animation or whatever. I just know random stuff that I found interesting. Like how Rescuers Down Under was the first Disney movie that used the like a different animation system, like digital. I forget what it was, but it's the one that they used specifically for like Tarzan or something, with like the crazy perspectives. As long as you don't let the fixed or toxic mindset get the better. Yeah, exactly. Whereas, like I said, I'm not worried about whether you don't know much about music. Yeah. The true ability to be open-minded. Whenever people have that kind of mentality, I'll just go and never come back. Yeah. That does turn me off sometimes. It's kind of like, cause like there's been like a little bit of like a thing going on in like the anime scene where there was like a video of like these people trying to rank like the first episode of every popular anime from like the beginning of anime to now, and it was just full of like stereotypes of what you would think a COVID anime fan is, where they're just, everything that's old sucks and everything that's new or shonen is like the best thing ever. And it's like, I don't like those type of people in general, like the touristy kind of like, oh, I got into anime during COVID because there was like nothing to do kind of people. It's like that arguing or reasoning with a person who let the toxic or fixed mindset get the better of them only drains us. Yeah. But it's like, personally, it's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And just be the anime fan that I am, in a sense. But, like, it is annoying to see people who don't understand anime culture pretend to be a part of it and are just making money off of, oh, anime is trending. Let's make money off of it. And it's like, I've been into anime since I was, like, in middle school. At least around the time I was into anime, it wasn't as, like, it wasn't really a topic for bullying people about it, at least at my school. But there were still people who found it weird and didn't really interact much with those people. Like, by the time I was into anime, it was slowly kind of becoming more mainstream. But, like, by the time 2020 happened is when it, like, exploded, I feel like. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with being new to anime or whatever, it's just that your attitude of, like, basically still just bullying people for it. That's why anyone who says anime or music started in 2020 are deemed unfit to have a conversation. Yeah, it's like they completely ignore the fact that there was stuff that came out before, or that there was stuff from, like, the 90s or 70s or whatever that inspired a current anime or something. It's like almost every shonen is inspired by, like, Dragon Ball or something. Or at least makes a reference to it. So it's like, why are you making fun of things because they're old? Old things set the foundation for the new things. Agreed, bullying people is no good, no matter what. Yeah. So, you know what? You have opinions I don't like, I'm just going to ignore you. Especially if you show no signs of actually wanting to learn, you know? Even if a person has a different mentality, you can't bully or threaten a person. Yeah. That's why it's more like just encourage the behavior you want to see. You want to see more people actually engaging in fandoms because they want to learn more about the things they like, and they just want to enjoy what they like about it. Yeah. I was like, I mostly found anime more enjoyable than some of the American cartoons I used to watch or whatever because the ideas were way more interesting. Because I also kind of grew up in that era where, like, the cartoons of, like, the 90s were still kind of a thing. But then, like, 2000s action cartoons were a thing as well, but they were also, like, slowly dying off just as quickly as they came to be. Whenever you bully someone, someone will bully you harder. It's like, fuck around and find out, or karma. Yeah. It's always superior to be the bigger person and not stoop to that level. At least publicly, personally, like... Publicly, there's always gonna be somebody that's gonna flame you for saying something stupid. Agree, Japanese shows project some villains as the anti-hero. Yeah. Which makes more of an interesting perspective sometimes. Or they present a hero character that's not very stereotypically hero. Yeah. Although I do want to get more into older anime, it's just harder to find sometimes. Because most streaming services don't even bother adding older anime to their libraries. Except for maybe a few of the more popular ones, like, I'm happy that I'm able to find Orange High School Host Club fairly easily. But it's like, I want to find some older shoujo that I used to read. Because, like, I kind of forgot about some of these series. Anti-heroes are my favorite characters because they have a different motive and not the type who is narcissistic. Yeah. It's like, they're not a good person, but at the same time, they're not fully a terrible person. Older anime require a lot of work, especially technology adjustment. Yeah. There's also probably some crazy stuff going on behind the scenes with some of the rights of, like, what studios own what. Because there's also, like, a lot of old studios that just don't exist anymore. So, like, the rights for the stuff that they used to have at the studio are just, like, who knows where. As well as, like, even, it's not just about Japanese anime either, but also, like, some older TV show recordings and whatnot. It's just, like, that early era of, like, recorded entertainment. Most of the people just threw out the stuff that they didn't need anymore. Which makes it even harder to find old stuff. Older anime, yes, especially the copyright claim. Yeah. Because it's like, well, who owns it now? Like, how do I get my hands on it? Is it public domain? Like, where is it? And it's like, even if it was, like, public domain or something, it's more about, like, where's the animation? Is it salvageable? You know? always unlawfully accuse people of misuse of anime music. I do remember seeing a video by Kenny Lauderdale talking about some old anime, because like he's interested in that stuff, and I do remember he was talking about like some hard to find old anime. That's why everyone should give credit to the elders who came before us. Yeah. You gotta put some respect on the pioneers of whatever genre or hobby you're interested in. Otherwise, you end up saying really stupid stuff that makes you sound very stupid for saying it. That's why it always bothers me when people talk about, like, female characters and all that stuff. Like, we need more powerful female characters, but it's like, you do realize that there's also shows from, like, before you were even born in the 2000s or whatever that had female characters that were actually groundbreaking for the era. But because it doesn't match your personal ideas of what a strong female protagonist is, you would just automatically write it off as, oh, well, it's still bad because it was, like, men wrote it or something. It's like, bruh, shut up. It's like, it's still an important milestone for what you're talking about. Yes, because without the pioneers, we won't have the music and shows we have today. Yeah! Just because times were different doesn't negate the fact that there's people out there, or stories, or characters out there that are still important. Even in the 70s, we have a lot of female characters and musicians who made a great impact. Yeah! Discrediting the people that came before you is so stupid. It just shows how uneducated you are and how unwilling you are to appreciate, you know, the history of whatever you like. It's not like you have to go deep into the trenches and dig up every single thing, but like, just knowing the important stuff. So, you know, it's been done before. That's also why I get a little bit annoyed when I see people talk about, like, Disney princesses sometimes. Talking about, like, oh, they're all these weak characters that have, like, no motivation. But then when you actually look back at some of these old Disney princess movies, it's either, you know, like, they haven't seen it in so long. It's like, you forgot that they have personality. They have agency. They have a story going on. Like, you were not paying attention. You're just carrying around the satirical idea of what a Disney princess is. Like, it especially bothers me with Snow White, because it's like, if you haven't seen the movie in so long, you would think that, you know, she's just, oh, poor helpless little damsel in distress wanting a prince, but it's like, did you not pay attention to the opening? Are you allergic to reading? Whether you're young or old, it doesn't matter. As long as you enjoy the music or shows, that's all that matters. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I like Snow White, too. You know, she actually does have a personality. You would think with the way some people talk about her, they just hate cute people or something. To me, status isn't everything. Yeah. It really isn't. I'm just vibing in my corner, enjoying things. Let me enjoy things. Snow White is cool. In 1937. Yeah, and she's pretty important, too. It's like the whole reason the studios was a success. I mean, currently it's spiraling into madness, but it was still an important movie, and that live-action remake is just disrespectful to the history of animation in general. Because, like, even if Snow White isn't the first animated movie, it's one of the more successful ones. And it's one of the ones that we actually, you know, have the archives of. Which is why I think it's still pretty important, even if it isn't the first. I'm also happy that we had a cool conversation together. Yeah. I always love talking about history, especially shows and music. Yeah, entertainment history I find is more entertaining. Because of how they all kind of overlap in a sense. Like, you can't have animation without music. You can't have stories without art and stuff like that, you know? All the creative arts just kind of meld together in a sense. The reason Snow White was treated with disrespect, especially the lead actress. Yeah. I feel like the lead actresses in general just were not helping the situation, but I feel like the Snow White actress was the worst of it. As far as I can tell. Yes, because without the history, we won't be here today. Yeah. We would not have the entertainment we do if there wasn't people from like 100 years ago pioneering creativity and what you can do with, you know, the new tools and stuff like that. I mean, hopefully we can figure out how to make AI less of a scummy tactic or whatever, because right now it sucks. It's not very reliable, and the big tech companies just keep like promoting AI as if it's the most like powerful, accurate thing ever, when it's like it still makes mistakes and it still like doesn't know everything. It still needs a whole lot of fine-tuning. Yes, pioneers are the key people in developing shows and music. Indeed. And I feel like it's just harder for people to understand that because of the fact that there's been so many advancements and things just move at a much quicker pace. That people feel like they're the actual pioneers of something when it's like you're not. It depends. As long as AI doesn't take control of our lives and we have to learn how to control it. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it is just a tool. And you need to know how to use the tool like a tool. Instead of trying to pass it off as like, it can do everything and everything. Like, they're passing it off like snake oil. Just like Future Shock by Alvin Tough. Yeah. Because, like, I'm pretty sure there's always been, like, leaps in technology that make people feel uncomfortable. And I feel like because it's not really talked that much about in history, people feel like, oh no, this thing is 100% bad. But it's like, we just need to find the actual proper use for it. Because right now, it's the Wild West. Not true. AI sometimes misleads people. Yeah, exactly. People are basically misusing it to the point where it's like, how do we figure out how to actually use this? Because it's like, it technically won't go away because it is advancement in technology. But the people that are using it are like the people who should not be using it. Like, if I see an ad and the entire thing is AI, I'm automatically assuming that you're just scamming people and you don't have a product. Like, I'm already assuming the worst if all you use is AI and you tote it around like it's the best thing since sliced bread. Yeah. It's like, I feel like it was way too early to release it to the public, to be honest. The public cannot be trusted with this technology. They are not to be trusted with this power. AI sometimes creates viruses. Yep. AI sometimes gives you completely false information as well. Because it's not actually intelligent, it's just algorithms or whatever. Some more, I never register anything with a certain... Yeah. certain companies out there where it's like, ugh. You need to stop having a monopoly on these things. But this was definitely a productive conversation. It's been a while. I do have to go, unfortunately. But I will be back at my usual times, Tuesday through Thursday. Even AI copied music from the past and make it seem like it was from a certain decade. Oof, yeah. I will be back on Tuesday. And I'll also continue to show off this artwork behind me for people who haven't seen it. Because, I like this art very much. Anyway, I'll go listen to music. I'm happy that we had a good conversation. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I'm happy for it too. I like learning new things. I acknowledge that I'm stupid sometimes, you know? Anyways, usual times, Tuesday through Thursday, around 12 in the afternoon EST is when was when I go live most of the time if nothing happens tech-wise, because I'm not that good with technology. I only know how to draw things, and I can barely rig my own model. I have to do everything myself around here. I do it for the love of creativity in general. Bye-bye!